Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So, our group will present about effect of merger and acquisitions in banking institutions. My name is Syed Muhammad Imran bin KHALID. My material number is 1190746. So, I will start to present about the introduction. Banking institution represent of any state or national bank, saving and loan association of the state or federal government, joint savings bank, state or federal credit unions, or any of its holding companies. In general, the financing activities of a banking institution includes different forms of loans such as corporate finance, housing, project finance, retail, short-term finance, small-medium enterprise, trade, and others. The term mergers and acquisitions generally refer to the process of merging one corporation with another. A merger is the combination of two firms which is under the banner of one corporate name and subsequently become a new legal entity. It is requiring two companies with a new ownership and management structure to consolidate into a new company. An acquisition takes place when one corporation takes over all another company's organizational management decisions.
Next, my name is SYUKRI bin Muhammad YUSOFF. I want to present about the effect merger and acquisition that can improve performance on banking institution. According to Pillow 1996, firstly, transfer of management skill from the superior firm to the less superior firm if the superior firm has complementary skill to the target firm. Secondly, merger can boost financial performance through the elimination of redundant facilities and human resources. Third, there is a consolidation of technology, skill, and resources when institutions were merged. Fourth, the fragmented market share that each entity independently held. Next, merger and acquisition can also sound promising, but the results are still scarce. Firstly, according to Rhodes 1990 and 1993, which is the cost reduction and gains in efficiency are not significantly. Second, Linder and Crane 1992, which is some indication that operating income is not improved by interstate mergers. Thirdly, Srinivasan 1992, which is the mergers do not cut costs on the non-interest expenses of the financial institution. Lastly, Berger and Humphrey 1992, which is they compare each merged bank performance with non-merged bank and did not find any significant cost efficiency gains on average, and the small insignificant gains identified were offset by reduction in scale efficiency.
There are three effects merger and acquisitions on the de novo entry, the newly opened bank branch. First, affecting the exercise of market power in price setting, the probability of entry should directly differ with this change in market power. Second, change the effectiveness of the participants or other local competitors in the merger and acquisitions. With the change in efficiency, the probability of entry should vary inversely as more effective incumbents may be stronger future competitors. Third, it affects the supply of it to small businesses in the local market. The probability of entry should vary directly with the degree to which M&A market merger and acquisitions institutions reduce their supply of this credit. The effect of the merger and acquisitions in the bank entry literature. Amel and Liang in 1997 estimated a two-equation model of entry and profits for 1977 to 1988. Their results support the existence of a competitive process in banking markets. The entrants were attracted by high profits, market size, and market growth, and the entry reduces market power in pricing. Moore and Skelton in 1998 examine the paradox of the recent increase in the de novo bank entry, given the decrease in the total number of banking organizations at the same time. They found that the de novo bank organized to take advantage of local conditions favoring entry, such as high growth and deficiencies in the provision of certain service. Selig and Critchfield in 2002 they examined the determinants of entry in banking in MSAs over 1995 to 1997, and originally found a significant negative relationship between mergers and de novo entry. However, these results were due to a programming error in their update paper. They corrected the paper, added data from 1998, and made other changes.
Based on effect of mergers and acquisitions under technical and skill, according to Rhodes 1998, in order to look at the impact of mergers and acquisitions on bank performance, there was unanimous agreement among the experts that about half any efficiency gain should be apparent after 1 year, which all gains should be realized within 3 years of the merger. Second, there are 3 sub-periods according to this situation. The first one, pre-merger period in 1997 until 1999, merger period in 2000, and post-merger period in 2001 until 2003. During all periods, the targets and acquirers means technical efficiency along with its decomposition of pure technical and skill efficiency score are compared. According to summary of mean efficiency levels of Malaysian banks, during the pre-merger period, it is clear that Malaysian banks exhibited a mean technical efficiency of 93.8%. Overall, the findings indicate that the Malaysian banking system has performed reasonably well in its fundamental position. At the same time, Malaysian banks may have cut their inputs by 6.2% and yet generate the same quantity of outputs. The decomposition of the technical efficiency into its pure technical efficiency and skill efficiency estimates suggest that inefficiency was largely due to skill, which is 5.44% rather than pure technical 3.08%. While during for post-merger period, Malaysian banks exhibited a mean technical efficiency of 96.8%, higher than the 93.8% reported during the pre-merger period. It is because the merger has contributed to the increase of the technical efficiency of Malaysian banks. It is also important to note that all Malaysian banks show a higher mean post-merger pure technical efficiency, and the decomposition of technical efficiency into its pure technical efficiency and skill efficiency components reveals that the technical efficiency improvement was mainly attributed to the improvement in pure technical efficiency.
Another effect of the merger and acquisition in banking institution is toward market risk. And market risk is defined as the possibility of an investor experiencing loss due to factors that affect the overall performance of the financial market in which he or she is involved. According to James Chen 2020, Market risk sometimes referred to as systematic risk that cannot be removed by diversification, but in some respect it can be hedged against. Recession, political instability, shift in interest rate, natural disaster, and terrorist threats are among the causes of market risk. For the example, during ASEAN financial crisis from 1997 until 1998, Bank Negara Malaysia (BNM) has announced the merger plan for the finance company in Malaysia in January 1998, and banking institutions in Malaysia also involved in this plan. The merger and acquisition in Malaysia in the late 1990 and early 2000 was pushed by BNM to strengthen the banking industry that was highly fragmented with a large number of small finance institutions, according to Sufyan and Ibrahim 2005. And as a result of the merger and acquisition, banking institution market risk shows the reducing trend for the following year. This according to Fahmi, Aisyah and Mariani and Hawati 2018. So, why merger and acquisition will reduce market risk? Before discussing that, we need to know first the factor of market risk in the banking institution. Market risk often come from the operation of a bank in the capital market. The unpredictability of stock market, asset price, interest rate, and credit spread is attributable to this. If they are active in investing in stock market or sale and trading, banks are more vulnerable. And other than that, commodity rates also play a part, since business that manufacture goods may be invested by the bank. If the value of the commodity change, so does the value of the market and the value of the investment. Commodity price fluctuations are triggered by variation in supply and demand that are often difficult to forecast. So, if there is a merger between the banks, it will reduce the risk because different banks have different investment. And even during the global financial crisis, market risk lows are still less than they were in the initial post-merger phase. And this shows that merged banks are more resilient to the global financial crisis.
So now we continue to the productivity of banking industry after merger and acquisitions. In the banking sector, productivity has historically been critical for the growth process, which is enabling banks to improve their competitiveness in terms of improving operating efficiency and being more creative in the development of competitively priced financial products. Banking sector productivity is significant because the banking sector is a major supplier to the economy of intermediate service, such as payment service and financing facilities. As a consequence of the economic crisis, the process of getting the banks in Malaysia to merge began in earnest in the mid-1980s. However, the strategy has always been to permit market forces to control the speed of the merger. Malaysia does not agree that the IMF's requirements to close the problem bank is the way forward, and a rational solution adopted by Malaysia is guided merger. The sixth Governor of Bank Negara, Tan Sri Ali Abdul Hassan Sulaiman, emphasized that the merger program for domestic banking institutions announced on 29 July 1999 would not compromise the financial strength of the combined entities in any way. In year 2004, banks' efficiency and productivity were the lowest, with a decrease of 17.3% and 9.6% respectively. This may be attributed to the completion of the merger between commercial banks and finance companies in the third quarters of 2004. However, productivity has improved over the years. This has shown that in the long run, the merger has been very successful in overcoming the financial uncertainty of the last decade. Therefore, no significant gains have been made in the short term, but bank mergers are for the sake of the future and the growth of the banking industry.
Effect merger and acquisition in Islamic perspective. Number 1, positive effect. Merger and acquisition can improve the bank infrastructure and also improve the quality of management, which is when a merger occurs, it will be beneficial to both parties to be able to share knowledge. That merger and acquisition can control the upcoming crisis. That means the merger gives the bank the strength to deal with various problems, including a major crisis in the future. Net merger and acquisition have high impact to compete in the ASEAN economy and can increase the number of savers. Number 2, negative effect. Merger and acquisition difficulty in adapting the Sharia policy. It is because one of the company does not have a Sharia basis. Next, merger and acquisition difficulty of determining the percentage rate of shareholder. Consideration to be considered before making merger and acquisition in Islamic perspective. Number 1, must have a large population of Muslims. Number 2, must be a measure attracting customers to save at the bank. Number 3, a place must have an application to Islamic law. A place that must have a large Muslim majority to attract their interest to save in Islamic bank. Compared to other countries such as Thailand, the majority of its people are Buddhist, and for that reason, there is no interest in them to merger with Sharia institutions.
For the conclusion, this study shows that post-merger success findings indicate that banks are primarily relying on their intermediation operation to produce high net interest income. Secondly, the risk to the banking industry must be closely tracked and regulated so that the loss does not spread frantically to other banks. The third one, the empirical findings indicate that the acquirers were found to be relatively more effective compared to the targets in several of the acquisition cases studied. And in the context of Islamic Sharia, the spin-off policy can only be rendered of Islamic business units that have done well in recent years. Last but not least, for recommendation, the results indicate that existing firms, merger and acquisitions, and probably other behavior should be included in prospective models of penetration into industrial organization and banking analysis in the future. And in order to compete globally, banking institutions need to further enhance their performance in terms of growth productivity, as the globalization of the banking industry is now more prominent nowadays. That's all from us. Thank you and have a nice day.